Is Kalani Sitake coaching for his job at Boise State tomorrow? I think that's probably strong. I don't believe that Kalani Sitake, if they lose every game for the rest of the year, I don't believe Kalani Sitake gets fired. Are there huge changes coming to his staff? Oh, that is almost for sure. I don't think there's any doubt that you are going to see changes on the defensive side of the football. I don't think Aaron Roderick is going anywhere, and I don't think he deserves to lose his job. I think there needs to be significant changes on the defensive side of the football, Jake. But do you believe Kalani Sitake is coaching for his job tomorrow?
No, I don't think he's coaching for his job tomorrow. I do think on some level, especially in college football, you're coaching for your job every week in the big picture. I think specifically at BYU, though, they are particularly loyal, and obviously with the circumstances and the fact that you have to be a card-carrying member and some of those other things, like I don't think BYU is as easily swayed to just go and fire head coaches. But I do agree that I think that, you know, we're on the countdown watch for Elisa Tuiaki. Like I think that there even is conversations about A-Rod. You know, I would agree that he's done a pretty decent job, but at the same time, I think that the offense has kind of been sputtering a little bit, if I'm being honest. Like, it's cool that, you've put up, 30 points or so, and that's usually what you do, but like it kind of feels like you need to do more, and there are a lot of times where it's like, man, like you just called a jet sweep when it's 3rd and 20. What are we doing? Like there's a lot of times where I feel like that with this play calling, and I think that is an issue that needs to be addressed. So no, I don't think that Kalani is coaching for his job. But I do think that every week that goes by that they lose, the coach speak just gets old. I mean, the coach speak just gets stale. Like you can only do that for so long before people, kind of get tired of it. And I can tell you, and I know it's me, like I probably got a little bit of a short fuse with it, but I get tired of it after like 3 weeks of losing and like, well, we just gotta fix this or fix that or execute here.
No, Jake, we're going to go watch the tape.
Yeah, we're going to go watch the tape, and we're going to see where we could have executed better.
And we got to hold guys accountable.
Yeah, it's like, all right, dude, like, cool, like, get to that, but what is what is going to make the actual difference?
At what point does accountability not mean anything anymore? That's the hard truth at BYU. The expectations are very high for this football team, as they should be. Every year, if you're not winning 10 games, you're not winning enough games. It's a disappointment. There's no doubt about that. And I say the same thing about Utah because I think Utah's in a far different situation. You just know that Kyle Whittingham is in control. And I think that's what this losing streak has done to BYU and Kalani Sitake. It's changed the check mark for Kalani. Like, we no longer just believe that good things are happening at BYU football. You no longer, if you're Kalani Sitake, get the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh, yeah, absolutely, they're in control at BYU. There's no doubt good things are happening. Like, you're no longer getting that benefit of the doubt. That's the hard part. And I think it's one of those things where you have to try and figure out, if you are BYU and if you are Kalani Sitake, how do we get back to that place? Is this truly just one game or one season? Is this just a blip on the Kalani Sitake radar? I think it is, and I think hopefully he deserves that benefit of the doubt. But I got to be honest with you, I don't think that you can just hand him that blank check anymore. I think now there has to be forced change on his coaching staff. If he doesn't want to make that change, I think you have to force change on his coaching staff because you don't have any other choice now because you've lost so much and you've given away a season. And I just don't think you can look past that anymore, Jake. Like, I don't think you can just look and say, hey, we just had a bad season. It was your last season of independence. You had big games and every opportunity to make the college football playoff and a New Year's Six Bowl and achieve all the things you wanted, and you fell absolutely flat, man.
That's it, Skippy.
Yeah, like it's just really hard to comprehend in September, August that right now in November you've won 4 games?
Yeah.
Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, I think that, and that was kind of going to be where I was going to go. Like, you're heading into the Big 12, like winning, having a 4-win season, or let's call it a 5-win season. Let's say they finish with 5 wins. Like, that's not good enough. And I know it's like, all right, cool, if that's not good enough, but what are you going to do about it? I do think that change has to happen, and I think that if I was a recruit, this would be a problem for me if I was looking at BYU, on some level. I also think that, again, then this is a luxury for BYU. Guys who want to go to BYU are always going to go to BYU because they want to be part of that culture. They want to be, in the mix at BYU. They like what BYU has to offer. So part of me is like, yeah, I like change needs to happen. But furthermore, as you move into the Big 12, especially with what we know is going on with Brett Yormark and expansion and distribution deals, like you have to play good football. Like being a 4-win team in the Big 12, you're wasting your time. And I get it. You'll get good TV money and there are some inherent benefits, but you're not playing the game to be a 4-win team, a 5-win team. And so then my mind goes to, okay, on the flip side, does Kalani Sitake in this program not on some level deserve the saying of, hey, it's one bad season, or like, hey, it's, you had a bad year this year. Like they've had like 4 or 5 really good seasons in a row and they've been building. And I think that spoiled BYU fans. And now you're having one bad year. So it's like, yeah, I think you need to make some changes and just go with it. Like, I don't know what else you can do at this point.
I don't know, but it sucks, man, because I think there was so much positivity, and this is just not how you wanted your season to go. Now, having said that, you still have a lot of opportunity in front of you. I mean, this Boise game is always a big game. It's always a tough game. Albertson Stadium is never a fun place to go and win. It's one of those things where you really just want a good result, and you have to earn that. And now I think Max Tooley's situation's a big deal. Will he play? I don't know, but you have a lot of defenders on this team that are going to be out. And obviously we continue to talk about the fact that, how many times are we going to talk about injuries at BYU? And I think this is also a big question, like who's responsible for all the injuries at BYU?
Kalani Sitake. It's that simple. You're the head coach. It's your program. You're responsible for it. I want to say it was like they're like the 4th most injured team in the country or whatever it is. Like they're up there. And I think that's why I'm saying, like, it's not like Elisa Tuiaki is going to be the scapegoat and he's going to be the guy that basically wears this season around his neck. But I think that, the training staff, there's some responsibility there. I think, what did we hear? Because this is something that doesn't get talked about a lot in the media in Salt Lake or, obviously Provo. Like, most people aren't talking about the fact that at the beginning of the year, what did we hear a lot of from Kalani and the boys? We heard, hey, we've got sports scientists. And remember the USF game, how it was really humid and dehydration was an issue. And everyone was like, oh, well, you guys are going to be really dehydrated and cramping and blah, blah, blah. And they ran this whole thing out there about sports scientists and we're going to lift this way and that way.
Listen
and
to how bitter you are.
But I'm being serious. Like, you have all these sports scientists, but you've also got all these soft tissue injuries. You've also got hammies and quads and calves and I'm not hearing the great espousal about sports scientists anymore.
The great espousal, boy, you're up early today.
Like,
you're firing.
Yeah, because like at some point you have to say, like, all right, cool. Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, early in the season, everything was great, and your sports scientists had the formula figured out. Now everything's not great, and now I'm not hearing about it. So I don't know. Like, I do think I would look at that. Like, I'm someone who does believe in sports science. I think you can look at things. You can study the human body and understand. Hey, Max Tooley needs to be able to do X, Y, and Z, so he should train to that. Yes. I believe in that 100%. But clearly there's an issue in that process somewhere. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's get some of your thoughts in here. Court McMullen, thank you for the $3 tip. Appreciate you. He says, don't get up before 6 for much. A chance at $1.5 billion will do the trick, though. See you soon, boys. Appreciate that.
Let's go.
I feel like Sitake's teams have been average other than the pandemic season, Jerry Jones's tongue says. There was so much hype this season, but it's been a huge letdown. That's true. That's absolutely true.
Are you talking about the Cowboys or BYU?
Exactly. Kalani does need to get better strength and conditioning. I agree with that. Boyd Lake says Kalani needs Tom Brady.
Well,
a little Tom Brady in your life is never a bad thing.
Yeah, maybe he can get some Gisele Bündchen,
By the way, Mrs. Monty is handing out the lotto tickets, and every time somebody opens the door, Father Winter comes in.
Dude.
And you guys,
cold.
it is cold out.
Drop that motherfucker.
Yeah, it was 27 degrees this morning. It is cold.
Yeah.
Yowzer. Boyd, appreciate you. Cody Strickland says Boise's going to run their rods in BYU's back line. I thought he said that they're going to run their rods. Okay. Jerem Patterson says Britton Covey's brother Stephen had a career-ending injury at BYU in the weight room, which is one of the reasons why Britton did not want to go to BYU. Oh, is that true? I did not know that.
Never heard that, but if that's true, I mean, look,
Jerem, that's interesting. I did not know that.
I just think you have to. It's got to be on lock. Like your guys got to be like we heard. So not this week, but last week, Harris LaChance didn't come on the show because they lifted as a team.
Yes,
and I love that. I love that concept. I love everything about it. The weight room is an almost religious experience for football programs, and I think that you start to understand that you have to have like really good strength and conditioning programs to be an elite football team. Like you have to be strong, you have to be healthy, you have to feel good, you got to be 100% on Saturday, and that's why I think like some of these really rough games have been on Thursday and Friday, like have been the earlier in the week games, and it does beg the question for me, and I'm really not trying to be harsh, but I really think it warrants the question, like, hey, what does their week prep look like? Because when I go on YouTube and I'm looking at media availabilities where they do, and I love that they do it, where the guys are standing on the field, the practice field, and they just kind of walk up to the
where
mics
they're
and
all
everything.
talking and stuff,
Like, I love the media scrum that they do that way, but it does beg the question, like, Tuiaki said that he's got all these interns and like all these kids that help them. And it's like, I wonder if maybe they need more professional staff, if you need more like actual coaches in the program. It makes me wonder.
It does. And I think it's a really good question. And these are really good football men that we're talking about. And I think one of the things we have to remember is these are humans with families, and
he's a brilliant guy.
But you either win or you lose. And I think there's a reason why you win or you lose. And I think Jerem's story about Britton Covey's brother is really interesting. That is really interesting. Boyd Lake says, guys. Justin Verlander got his first World Series win last night. Go Stros. Stop.
Hey, guys.
Stop. Boyd, don't say hurtful things. Don't. There's no reason to. The defense of the Houston Astros is why they won that game, by the way.
Yeah, whatever.
Snuka says, howdy, folks. Snuka. San Diego State Aztec says, back in the day, BYU had pickle juice to keep from cramping up. They have sports science these days. Just kidding. The pickle juice worked. It did absolutely work.
Yes.
100% true. I grew up with the Coveys, sat at their dinner table. Facts.
Well,
that's crazy. PG Blackhawk 97. Thank you, Mrs. Monty. I was first one in today. You guys rock. Appreciate you being here, man. Thank you. First one in at 5:45 today. Getting the tickets.
Credit. His sleep and conditioning program is excellent.
Amazing.
He was able to wake up, get here. He was showered and put together. Ready to go.
And I'm hoping that you're a Blackhawks fan. Is why that's your name, because they, it's fine. Kalani has never had a successful team without a guy named Tyler running the football. Tyler is in Atlanta this year, laying bare the truth that Kalani should not be coaching in Provo. I totally disagree.
Yeah, I just disagree with that. I will say, though, that when you've got a guy like Tyler Algier running the football for you, it covers a lot of your problems. Let's just be honest with it.
Absolutely.
Like, when you've got a battering ram back there, a guy that's going to run people over, like that's going to cover a lot of your shortcomings offensively and frankly defensively. I mean, if you're able to run the football, your defense isn't going to be out there nearly as much. So,
but are you telling me the heroic play that Tyler Algier made with that run where he ran down the sideline and stripped that ball
against ASU?
Are you telling me that has nothing to do with Kalani Sitake?
I'm for real.
That's not because want to, effort, desire, passion for winning
for real
wasn't instilled in his players?
I think.
Come on.
I think in my firm opinion on this is that it's somewhere in the middle. I think that Kalani did instill that in those players. I also think that Tyler Algier specifically was and is a gifted athlete and a gifted individual. And I think that when you understand that you have that level of capability and athletic ability, and you can apply that and you understand, hey, I'm going to get to the league, you're willing to make those plays. You're willing to go the extra mile and use what you have. And I think there are a lot of guys, I'm not going to say a lot of guys, but it just feels like in the program right now that there's not a lot of belief. I think it's too strong to say these guys have quit on their season, certainly, but I do think that when you lose like this, it's not easy to deal with, and it turns into work instead of having fun. But
I also think we as fans, no matter who your team is, need to be better about being fans too. I mean, when you think about, the Elisa Tuiaki situation where he got into it with a fan in the end zone, and Max Tooley's tweeting in defense of him, and I mean, we as fans need to not do what we like to do. Mm-hmm. Like this fan last night, Greg Hawkins, sent me a tweet of a guy at the World Series last night who yelled at Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, because he happened to be sitting 2 seats away from Rob Manfred. He puts up a Reddit poll of what he should say to Rob Manfred, and the most liked comment is the one that he would read. And he wound up yelling something stupid at Rob Manfred. It's like, dude, what is wrong with you? Mm-hmm. Why does this make you? I just feel like we all want to be heroes. And instead of doing what's necessary to support our teams, college football is very different. And I get it. I get it. I totally understand it. I get it. Boyd Lake says, I'm hoping for a bounce back game, but I also don't think Kalani is feeling too much pressure. He signed the extension recently. I feel that BYU is not likely to do a buyout. He's pretty safe. I would agree he's pretty safe.
And you're heading into the Big 12. I mean, you're not gonna fire Kalani.
And he doesn't deserve to be fired over one bad season, because that's what this is. This is a bad season. We've all football fans have experienced this. Every coach has experienced it. Witt's experienced it. You're going to have bad seasons. The expectation was 10 wins for a reason.
Yep.
Right? So these are the games that can define you. If you go to Boise and win, I don't think there's anybody that wouldn't be happy about that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't recognize that as a character win. I think. Let me ask you about the number on this game, because I do think it's interesting. It's now 8 in favor of Boise, 54.5. By the way, this game is in Nowheresville TV land on FS2. What do you make of the number being at 8, 54.5?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's major shade to the BYU defense. I have to say that. I think that the BYU defense, like listening to Gabe Giudicelli last week talk about, hey, we just simply have to tackle better. We have to take better angles. Like, we have to do a better job. I would, frankly, be a little surprised if the tackling didn't improve this week. I would. Like, I think you're playing Boise. Like, it's a big game. It's a get-up game for sure. Like,
yeah.
I would expect them to come out playing fast defensively. But, again, I've said that before. And that's why I have trouble believing in this team right now, because you expect them to do one thing, and then you wind up getting these ridiculous calls on 1st and 10, and we're still dropping 8. So it doesn't put them in a great position. So how do I feel about that number? I feel like it's disrespectful to BYU, but I feel like that's the number they've earned. You haven't played well. There would be no reason to think that you're going to go to Boise and win this football game, frankly.
Yeah, I expect Boise to win the game. And I think that number's probably pretty accurate. This feels like a 30-point performance from Boise and a 20-point performance from BYU. I absolutely feel like Boise's 10 points better right now. They're playing exceptional football. I feel like they're 10 points better than BYU. So I actually don't have any trouble with that number at all. And I think, hey, it is what it is. This is the way you've played. This is the way your defense is played. You've earned that 8-point underdog status on the road at Boise.
Yeah.
And it just didn't have to be this way. That's the most frustrating thing. It did not have to be this way. Football Friday presented by Quack Car Wash. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show, but you're in, you're out. It's quick, it's friendly, it's fun at Quack Car Wash. A couple more of your comments on BYU. Lopes fan Gabe says, hello, hit the like button, casuals. Yeah, let's go, you guys.
So Lopes fan Gabe.
Yes.
Real quick.
Yep.
My guy is shoe guy. Casual reseller. We'll sell some shoes here and there. Mm-hmm. Dude sold a pair of Dunks yesterday and donated $220 worth of proceeds to the show's fund for families.
Wow, yeah, that was awesome, Gabe. I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate, you guys have really embraced this, thing that we're trying to do. And the thing that we're trying to do is get back to the community. We've really worked hard to get to where we are and to build this studio. And we've told you guys that we really want to adopt a family for Thanksgiving and adopt some kids for Christmas, because we know that people out there are struggling. We know that there are people who are trying to provide for their family, and they just, I mean, it's difficult right now for some people. And so what we've asked you to do is donate money to us through the tip function here on YouTube. It's the $ below the comment box. Just click on that. You can give $1. You can give $1 million. It's up to you.
Or you could come get a Powerball ticket and win $1 billion.
Yeah. I just really appreciate everybody that has, that has worked hard to do that for us. And that you would sell shoes and give us the proceeds is ridiculous. I really appreciate that. I really am thankful that guys like Gabe are on this show. Yeah. Because it's guys like Gabe that make our show possible. It's guys like Gabe that make it possible for us to build a studio at Maverick Center. Gabe's been a listener of ours for, really dating back to 2016. And we just really appreciate you, Gabe. And we appreciate everybody else who supports this show. So thank you for that. And by the way, if you want to nominate a family, if it's your family, if you need some help, don't feel like you're going to be judged, because we're not. I was talking to a guy on DM yesterday about, that he lost his job a couple of weeks ago, oddly enough, at a major Silicon Slopes tech company.
Heard about that before?
Yeah, he lost his job, and so he's concerned about how he is going to afford a Thanksgiving dinner for his family. So we're definitely going to take care of that dude, if he allows us to. I will say, by the way, he said, I think I have family where I'm going to wind up going. He's like, and I don't want to take money from somebody else. But it's truly humbling to hear the stories of people and to hear the families that are really trying to battle through this pandemic. And I can tell you, and not because they're an advertiser on the show, but, this is why we're always telling you that you've got to get to Tri-Day Trading. We're going to talk about this Twitter story later on the show today. About the layoffs that are going to hit Twitter today. You've got to stop with chasing paychecks, man, because it's the drug they give you to make you forget your dreams. It's what I always say. And go to Tri-Day Trading, and I don't want to call anybody out by name, but, we got a tweet yesterday from one of our listeners that talked about how, hey, my wife wants to stay home with our kids, so she's going through the TriDayTrading.com program right now. Yes. And it truly is about finding the life that you want to live. And if you're one of those people that lost your job, you have nothing to lose by going to TriDayTrading.com/Monty and watch the free webinar and then make a decision. Yep. It is truly a really, really good program. And I just...
Yeah, and hear us. It's free.
Yeah. The webinar is free. You don't have to. You don't have to. Hey, Raptor88, thanks for coming by. Appreciate that. Mrs. Monty is out there talking to our listeners. Corey McGee, thank you for coming by. Everybody getting their Powerball tickets this morning. Yes. But just, go check out if you're looking to get off your grind, you're looking to get out of your job. If you're looking for a job, stop looking for a job and start looking for the rest of your life at TriDayTrading.com/Monty. Make sure you tell them about it. You heard about it on the Monty Show. Don Williams says players cannot tackle better when they are out of position in the first place with a bad scheme over and over again.
I don't disagree with you, bro.
Yeah,
I don't disagree.
I think that's pretty close. Brian Massey says, let's see, Satyrus fired Detmer, putting blame on him for the losses.
I think that was autocorrect for Sitake.
Sitake?
Yeah.
True. But Ty Detmer was never Kalani Sitake's guy.
Yeah.
Ty Detmer was hired for Kalani, not by Kalani.
Big difference.
He said the next year they ran the same offense. This time looks like the blame is being placed on the defense. Well, I don't disagree with you. I don't understand why the tide has turned so drastically on Kalani Sitake.
Because they're losing. That's why. It's just because they're losing, and people don't like losing.
But do we really not have the perspective that this truly is one bad year? It's one bad year. Where were we all when Zachy Poo was getting drafted number 2 by the Jets?
Milfson.
Where were we when Kalani's teams were winning 10 games? Right? Where were we? Nobody was talking about this. It's one bad year.
Yeah.
Now, if a year from now we're talking about this again, hey, I agree, it's justified.
Yeah.
But are we really pulling the ripcord on Kalani Sitake already? You're crazy. How many guys are qualified to do what he does? At BYU, not a lot. Not a lot. Simon 2077 says, I'm surprised you guys aren't talking more about the Big 12 considering this is going to be your new family. Well, we talk about the Big 12 just about every day on this show. Justin Salas says, have you guys ever thought about opening up a channel membership here on YouTube? I would definitely pay $5 a month to help support the channel. We have thought about that, but you guys tip us a pretty regular amount. Like, we really have been amazed at how many people tip us on this show. Mm-hmm. And it's our hesitation with memberships is that we don't want you to have to pay us something all the time. We want it to be optional for you. And we have sponsors that help us do this show and facilitate what we do here. And if the money that you guys give us go to special projects.
I would rather you make the choice to tip us than us being a line item or on your ledger every month, you know? Like that to me is a better setup in my opinion, but you know.
Yeah. But I appreciate you saying that.
If you're trying to say you want the Monty Show Netflix subscription, I mean, we could work that out. But
Netflix and no. Jeremy Severe says, I would rather have 2 or 3 bad years if every 4 or 5 years was extraordinary. Build and rebuild for championships. Truth. Tanner Plummer. Hey guys. Good morning, Tanner.
Excuse me.
Kalani's job. Yes, I'm sorry.
His name is not Tanner anymore.
Yes, it is. I'm not saying
it's not.
it. I'm not saying it.
Yeah,
look, James Knight, take it easy.
Listen, dude, Tanner, it has to embrace the name.
Are you going to say it or? Because I'm not saying it.
So what did Super Soaker say?
Wow. Kalani's job isn't on the line, but if they get embarrassed tomorrow, his leash might get a little shorter.
Agreed.
I agree with that. Hey, thank you. San Diego State Aztec gives us a $10 tip. Keep up the great work, gentlemen. Thank you. Don Williams says the 3-man front with 6 in the backfield was started again last year with Arizona. They kept all the games close to now. Well, I just don't think it's a recipe for winning.
You can't run 3 guys on the defensive line in the Big 12, dude. The Big 12 is a battering ram of a conference. They're going to run the football down your throat. Like, you need to be running, like, in my opinion, you need to run a traditional 4-3. And then if you want to, play cover 2 sometimes, or, if you, whatever you want to run as far as zone is concerned, you can do that. But on first and I would say second down as well, obviously depending on down and distance, like I would be running a 4-3. Like that's where I would go. I would get back to basics. I'd get back to fundamentals. Like that's what I do. But they don't want to do that. And I honestly, if I'm being truthful, I think when you run 3 guys, you're essentially running a 3-4 because that's kind of what it is. Like you're asking a lot of these linebackers.
Yeah.
You're not only asking them to cover the flat, you're asking them to cover the gaps. So it's like, your linebacker play is either going to make or break you. And so it broke you against Oregon. It broke you against Wyoming. Like, it broke you several times. That's why I think you got to run 4 guys on the D-line.
Yep, I agree. NY Monty fan says, been a bad week, fellas. Thanks for keeping my mind off stuff. My father passed away. Then we had a huge company layoffs. You people are my people. Thanks, Monty, Jake, and Monty Nation. Oh, wow.
Sorry to hear that, bro.
I'm really sorry.
Unfortunate.
I know that layoffs are coming across a lot of people's desks these days. And I appreciate that you guys share your stories with us.
Look, man, and again, like I don't want it to be repetitive, but it's just funny how this is kind of all coming down. Like the Twitter thing's happening, but like when I see comments like that, I say this all the time. That is why, literally why we partnered with Tri-Day, because we were like, hey, we know, like everyone's saying, oh, there's going to be this slowdown and like the economy's going to slow down and we're going to go, it's not going to be 2008, but we're going to have a slowdown, right? And my whole point with that was, okay, great. That's cool. We know we can't stop the run. What are we going to do about it? We know there's a slowdown, but what are we going to do about it? And that's why I genuinely keep saying, and he keeps saying, like, just go watch the webinar, because I really we've watched the webinar. It's a great product. Like literally, like I'm telling you, people are starting to catch on.
Honest to goodness, and we're trying to work out our schedule to go through the Tri-Day program because I believe in it that much.
Yeah.
And I just tell people every day, like, if I could put you in a position where you work for yourself, making hundreds to thousands of dollars a day, would you want to do that? if we could put you in a position where you want to be home for the holidays every year, would you want to do that?
What would life be like if you didn't have the money gremlin on the back of your mind every day?
What would life be like if you never had to worry about getting laid off? What would life be like?
Like, if you really take a second and think about that, if you just stop and take a moment, you're like,
yeah,
is that possible? Can I create that? Yes, it's possible.
And NY Monty fan, I'm really sorry about your dad, man.
Yeah, man, I'm really sorry about that. That's terrible.
Yeah, as you know, Jake and I are father and son, and we've had some like really interesting conversations lately. I can't imagine what that's like. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you for that. Raptor88 gives us a $5 tip. Hey, thanks for coming by, man. He says, thanks for the ticket, guys. Have a great day. You too, Raptor. Appreciate that. Caleb says, sorry for your loss, NY. Aztec, Salty Drunk, Tanner Plummer, Boyd Lake, everybody offering their condolences. Appreciate that. Eric in Raleigh says, you're dramatically underselling the amount of work needed to be successful, to be a successful day trader. I'm not saying it's easy.
And nobody said it was easy.
Nobody, but when you're trained at the level that TryDayTrading.com puts you through an entire course, you learn the ins and outs, you learn the algorithms, you learn the processes that it takes. Like, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And I feel like this is a theme in my life this week. I will just say again, do hard better. Do hard better. I have just told 100. I had an incident that we're going to talk about later in the show with a bunch of kids last night at my house. And one of the things I said to them was, embrace where you are in your life and appreciate it. And when you're talking about that, hey, you're vastly underselling what it is to be a day trader, I'm not underselling anything. All I'm asking people to do is go and watch a webinar. But the thing that I will say is, if you're not willing to embrace the suck, don't just sit down and stay where you are. Because if life was easy, everybody would be thriving, but they're not. Do hard better. Yeah. It is, you have to embrace your shortcomings. You have to embrace your failings. You have to embrace the fact that every single day is an opportunity for you to sit up in bed, be grateful that you get to sit up in bed, and go improve your life every day.
Say this again.
Every single day. Do hard better, right? It's what Kara Lawson at Duke talks about. Do hard better, man, because every day in this world, there's going to be something put in front of you that's difficult. And if you're not willing to embrace that challenge and be your best self, you're not going anywhere but where you are now. You're going to keep doing the same thing you've always done, which has gotten you to where you are right now, which is not where you want to be. And when we go fast forward 5 years, are you going to look back and thank yourself today for what you did today to get you to where you're going in 5 years? Or are you going to say, damn, why didn't I do that 5 years ago? Mm-hmm. Make a decision, man. Like, that's all I'm saying. That is all that I am saying. Maples gives his condolences. NY Monty fan says, thanks, guys. Truly, the show and our crew mean a lot. Grateful for all of you. Sincerely, give me the I'm a man drop.
I'm a man, huh?
See?
Okay.
Where is it? I'm a man. There it is, right there. Exactly right. Cam Harrison offers condolences. BT Dance Studio says, Monty and Son are great people, not just about sports or the Jazz. Thanks, BTS. Appreciate that. Exactly. Count your blessings. Caleb says yes. Eric says, you're talking about having holidays at home and more time for your family. Day trading requires 12 or more hours a day of work to be successful because one bad trade will ruin you. That's not true at all.
It's not true.
That's not the way that's perception versus reality.
See, this is what we do too. Like, with all due respect, Eric and Raleigh's been listening for as long as I can remember. Like, I love you, bro, but you're storytelling right now. Like, you're basically saying, oh, hey, it's really difficult to be a day trader. Well, nobody said it was easy. Right? But the essence of the Tri-Day thing is, hey, they have a program. They're not just saying, all right, hey, here's your key card to the building, and here's your login for the computer. Good luck. Right? And you got to pay us a monthly fee. They're not saying that at all. No. What they're saying is, hey, watch the webinar and just decide if you're interested. Just decide if, like, you feel like, hey, yeah, if I went through a program and I had the course and the teachings, Could I do this? Is this something that I could do? If I
have the coaching, the mentorship, the education, the support, the systems, there are people every day that go through the TryDayTrading.com course who are now making hundreds and thousands of dollars. Like, don't take my word for it, man. Go to their website. You want to do it, do it. It's an opportunity. That's all I'm saying. It is absolutely a skill. It is absolutely a skill. Court McMullen says, came for the sports, stayed for Monty's life lessons. I appreciate that. I don't mean to be preachy. I don't. And I know it happens a lot on this show, but it seems like, so I'll tell this story now, and you guys probably don't care about this, but so I'm chilling last night watching the World Series. Me and Mrs. Monty, frankly, are half asleep because we've been under the weather and it's been a long week. And so we're sitting there watching the Phillies.
And as you can see, I'm going through some shit right now.
So we're dealing with some stuff and we're sitting there with the dogs watching the World Series. And my Ring doorbell notifies me that there's somebody standing on my porch. Yeah, so I I click the notification, it opens up, and it's a kid who's walking up and down my front stoop.
What the fuck are you?
Just walking up and down my front stoop, not doing anything. So I get up and I'm standing there while he's standing there. I'm like, am I going to open the door? And he pounds on the door and he runs away. Mm-hmm. And so actually we were watching Chicago PD is what we were watching this week's episode. And I walk out my back door. I have a patio and stuff on my back door. And I wanted to see if there was this one house that has a bunch of kids that, are constantly around.
They're being kids.
It wasn't that house.
Yeah.
So I just stood there and I listened because I live in Daybreak. It's very quiet. 9 out of 10 minutes in Daybreak, silent. So I'm just listening. And I hear these kids talking down the street, which sounds like out my front door. So I'm like, okay. So I walk outside like an idiot. I'm sick. Without a jacket on, just my T-shirt. I'm in T-shirt, yoga pants, and Air Max 90s.
I'm a fucking unit.
Yeah, totally. I walk out the front door with only my cell phone, and I see them standing down the street. So I walk up to them, and I got tough guy on them, right? I said to the guy, I said to these 4 kids, how effing stupid are you guys? And this one big kid, it was one big kid and 3 smaller kids. Mm-hmm. And it turns out they're 15 to 17 years old. And they're from Harriman. And so I said to the kid, I was like, do you realize that in our neighborhood, you're on a video camera 20 times? From my front door to right where you're standing, you're on a network of video cameras. Because everybody in our neighborhood has Ring doorbells, and they're all on a network. So if something happens, people post videos and whatever. And I said, you realize what you just did right there? And I didn't say, because I wanted him to tell me he did it, this one kid. And I said to the kid, you realize what you just did? You're on a network of video cameras now. For the rest of your life, you're on video being an idiot. And he said, oh man, I was just kidding around. I was just having a good time. And then the big kid, because there's this bigger kid, and there's 3 smaller kids.
What are we talking about when you say big kid? Like what? Like
he's my size.
Okay.
He's my size. And he starts dropping F-bombs on me. And he said, well, there's 4 of us and 1 of you. How do you think this is going to work out? And so I said to the kid, well, good, I'll start with you. And I said to him, I'll knock you the F out, and then I'll deal with these 3. How does that sound? And then he stopped, and the kid said, hey, man, I'm really sorry.
I'm going to get medieval on your ass.
And he was looking down, right? Like, this is a humble kid. He's looking down. He's like, hey, man, I'm really sorry. We were just messing around. And I said to him, I stood right in front because there were 4 of them, and it was me, and I was standing between the big kid and the kid who had hit my door. And so I stood in front of him, and I said to him, hey, look at me. And he wouldn't look at me, so I snapped in his face. I was like, hey, look at me. Pick your eyes up. And he picked his eyes up, and I said, if you remember one thing I say to you, just remember this. I'm going to give you a break tonight. But if I was a different guy, you could be shot, stabbed, or you could be unconscious on the ground right now. And he said, wow. He just went like, wow, hey, man. I was like, dude, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just trying to give you some knowledge. And then the big guy starts mouthing off again.
Hey, Claw.
And he just starts F-bombing. And I said, dude, will you just shut up? And I said to him, you're the alpha male here. You're the leader of the pack. These kids are following you. Look at the example you're setting for them.
Hey, you start talking shit.
And I said to him, your friend just apologized and owned up to what he did. I was ready to walk away, and now here you are being tough guy.
Y'all want to play.
And his friends are like, yeah, dude, we're really sorry. And I just said, hey, what are you guys doing here? Like, what are you doing in my neighborhood? And they're like, and the one kid was like, you know what, man? We rode our scooters up here. We're from Harriman. We just rode our scooters up here. We were at the lake chase because in Daybreak there's this big lake that's several blocks from my house, but there's a bunch of ducks there. And they they got on those bird scooters. They rode up to the lake and they chased ducks around. That's what they were doing. They're kids. They're 17 years old. What do you want from me? And so they were like, hey, we were just, and we wound up on your street. We were just messing around. And I said, just think about what you're doing. You ran up and knocked on my door. You disturbed my night. I'm trying to watch the World Series. And now we're standing here on the street. And you have no idea who I am or what I'm about to do. Let that sink in. And the kid's like, yeah, you're right. I'm cool. I get it. And I said, okay, why don't you guys just go home? Just go home.
Pack your shit. Let's go.
And don't come back. They went their way and I went my way. But I'm just like constant. And I was telling the kid, this is not who you want to be. You're on video being an idiot for the rest of your life. And I just want to say to that kid, like, and I said to the big kid when he started F-bombing me again, I said, okay, cool. So you want me to call the cops? You want me to call your parents? You want to make this a big thing? And that's when the other three kids were like, whoa, dude. Like, no, man, it's all good.
On a Thursday night.
And I just want people to understand, you're not in trouble. But what if I was a different guy? Because, honestly, what I thought I should have done is open that door and yank that kid in my house and be like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? But there are people in this world who are not kind people.
Yeah.
There are people in this world who quite literally, I think, probably would have knocked that kid to the ground or something.
Yeah.
I'm never going to do that. I'm not that guy. But you can't even have a conversation with that kid. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, dude.
It's amazing to me. It's just amazing to me that is what it is. I don't know. All right. Alan Malai says, guys, this thumbnail is clickbait bullcrap. In no way, shape, or form is Kalani losing his job. Ridiculous. We didn't say he was losing his job.
So wait, let me get this right. Let's review. So wait, the thumbnail is clickbait bullcrap, but it got you into the show. You're watching and you commented. No, he's not getting fired. That's not what we said on the thumbnail.
What we said is Kalani Sitake coaching for his job at Boise?
It's a perfectly legitimate and reasonable question based on where they're at in their season.
And they've won 4 games, and we're in November.
So don't tell me that it's a ridiculous bullcrap clickbaity question. The thumbnail works, right? Like, it's not rocket science. We know what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Cody Strickland says, will you guys hold a watch party and do like a fundraiser for Christmas? I'll show up for that and donate. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, we're working on it.
We're working on something.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tanner Plummer says, I'm with Cody. That would be cool. Eric and Raleigh says, teach those kids to think before acting. That's exactly what I was trying to do. BTS says, wow, Monty, great story. Monty has that THT big boy body. Well,
Bro, did you just call my guy fat?
Did you just call me fat?
Like, what's wrong with you, bro?
That's not nice.
Fat! Fat!
Brian Massey says, doorbell ditch was my first 40-yard dash. And I actually told them a story about when I was a kid. So me and my friend Keith Horowitz, we were ding-dong ditching, and I want to say it was a knife or something. He dropped a really valuable thing that his father owned. Mm-hmm. So we had to circle back to go find it. The guy came out. He chased us. He almost caught us. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
It changed my life. And that's exactly what I was trying to do. It just is what it is. Wow, that was a crazy story, Mont, but good lesson, I think. Monty, always 100% class. I remember the tomato incident. Need more people like you. We came from sports, like someone said, but stayed for Monty and Jake. Thanks, fellas. Yeah, I appreciate that. Jerem says, Monty and Jake, I've been doing door-to-door sales for 10 years. You guys are pretty tough sales. Or how do you handle solicitors? It just depends. Like, it depends on how you act. If you knock on my door.
The very way that you knock on the door sets the precedent for the conversation.
Yeah, ring the doorbell first. If you pound on my door, I'm probably not going to open it with an open mind. Right? But if I open the door, and like there was a solar guy months ago now, I think, or a termite guy or something, on a Sunday night, soliciting and being like, hey, bro. and I think he was asking me about something like I don't remember what he asked me about.
Do you want to save $800,000 a
No,
year?
but it was something like where he was like, "Hey, bro, man." He said something like, "Man, this is a great neighborhood, bro."
Hey guys.
And he said something about the neighborhood, if memory serves, and I was like, "Yeah, that's why we don't allow solicitors." But if you knock on my door and you're like, "Hey, man, I'm here to talk to you about solar," hey, I whatever your spiel is. Listen, Jake and I have done high level sales for a long time. Mm-hmm. You've got 10 seconds. It's called an elevator pitch. If I open the door and you're like, "Bro, this is a great neighborhood." All right, man. That's why we don't accept solicitors.
Yeah, that's why you can walk your ass out of it.
Yeah, take care. But if you say, "Hey, my name's Steve," and or if you say, "Hey, my name's Jerem, and I'm here to talk to you about like pest control is constant in my neighborhood."
Yeah,
we get pest control solicitors all the time. "Hey, I'm here to talk to you about pest control," and I'm like, I would probably say something like, "Yeah, you know what, man, I'm not interested." And if you say to me, "Well, when you say you're not interested, what do you mean by that? You don't want or you don't need pest control?" I'm probably going to talk to you. If you say to me, "Well, of course you're interested," like one of the pest control guys is like, "You're interested, you just don't know you're interested."
Pause, bro, pause.
And I fired back at him, "Yeah, you're never going to know if I'm interested or not because I'm not buying from you. Have a good day." But if you are actually a professional salesperson, I'm going to talk to you. By the way, if you're knocking on my door, you better be wearing an ID badge.
And you better be looking nice.
Because that was the other thing. This guy, and you remember that guy.
Yeah.
There was another guy who came to our front door.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
On a summer weekend night, knocking on my front door.
That's the one thing I will never understand. Like, if I was going to go do door knocking, and door knocking's big in real estate. I don't have an issue with door knocking. But you got to understand, like, you can't go over to someone's house. Like, I would not be door knocking much past 5 o'clock.
You can't door knock on Sunday nights.
Especially, with all due respect to my LDS brethren, you don't door knock on Sundays in Utah.
No,
you don't. You don't do that.
You don't.
Like, Saturday's the day. You need to do it Saturday, probably mid-morning. In communities, like I would say mid-morning, 10 to 11, and know what you're going to say.
Yeah. Have a spiel, have worked on it.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I don't know, man. I'm not, the solicitor determines how I am, how I handle it. Let's see. Lopes fan Gabe says, "Who rolls up to sit on Monty Claus' lap for Christmas?"
Hey guys.
Gabe. Gabe is under 300 pounds now, so he could sit on Santa Claus's lap. Good for you, Gabe, by the way. Caleb Harrison says, "No way a salesman said, 'Hey, bro.'" My God.
He straight up did.
Dude, you have no idea, kid. And again, I get it. I am acutely aware that when this guy, "Hey, big dude, what's up, boss?
Bro.
Hey, hoss."
Hey, guys.
Right? Like, when I open the door, I'm almost 6'4", dude. I am 300 pounds. I'm a big dude.
Right.
When I open the door, I think it takes some people by surprise.
Right.
I fully embrace that.
man.
But you can't roll up with boss.
Chief.
Like, you can't do boss. "Hey, boss."
Hey,
No.
big guy.
I've gotten,
Are you
"Hey,
out of
big
your
guy."
mind?
I've gotten, "Hey, big guy." Chances I'm going to drop my credit card on you when you say, "Hey, boss." "Hey, big guy." "Hey, chief." "Hey, stud." I've gotten stud too. Like, I had a solicitor say to me on the phone, granted, "Hey, stud." Yeah, probably not going to happen, dude. Probably not going to happen. I mean,
Jesus.
yeah, and it is. It totally is. You'd be surprised, Caleb. Salesmen try to act all casual. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Boyd says, "I hate vendors interrupting me while I'm working at home. Not good." And that's the other thing. A lot of people work at home.
Yeah.
Tanner says, "I'm taking a career class in school and I finished creating an elevator pitch. It was somewhat easy." It's not hard, but you got to practice it.
You willing to put your elevator pitch on Twitter?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm a high-level sales professional as well. Door-to-door guys got to start somewhere, but don't get stuck in it. I know the money can be good, but building a family and a friend-centered life is everything. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I just don't think.
Yes, it is.
So, like I said, I don't have an issue with door-to-door sales. I think it's the proving ground for great sales. I think it does break you in. It does force you to do some things. I just think that Guys don't want to do it. 9 out of 10 guys don't want to do it. And I really feel like in Phoenix, there was this big initiative in the real estate world for door knocking before all the Californians moved to Phoenix because there was a lot of opportunity. And so it was like, cool, you got a lot of door knockers. Totally get it. But you definitely can tell the difference between someone who knows what they're doing and what they don't. And 9 out of 10 guys don't know what they're doing.
Yes, I did see that. Yes, Justin South. Did you all see the video of the sales guy who accidentally called the owner the N-word?
Yes, dude. That's what I'm talking about. How does that... You don't accidentally call someone the N-word,
It was
dude.
a solar guy, and he was doing solar, and so we went to the neighbor's house to say, hey, I am installing solar on your neighbor's house. And he went to the guy's door and knocked on it, and the guy opened the door, and he was a black man. And I think the solar salesman was surprised, and he said, I'm going around talking to all the N-words about solar. And it was crazy.
You can't, and that's a thing. That's what I'm saying, dude. Know who you are. If you're not comfortable doing door-to-door, then don't do it, right?
Yeah.
But again, and I'm just going to keep saying it, and I know I'm not trying to be over the top. That's why you should at least watch webinars. That's why you should at least see if something's a fit for you.
And what I would tell you, and I think Jake might disagree on this. You want to be a salesman, you want to make real money, go to Yelp.
Well, I don't disagree with
getting on the phone at Yelp, being a local salesperson at Yelp. I made close to $300,000 a year at Yelp.
Yeah.
Being a sales guy at Yelp makes or breaks you in sales.
Yeah.
Because you can do it or you can't. You've got game or you don't. And what I would say is,
they teach you.
Get on YouTube.
Yeah.
Watch the Wolf of Wall Street sales lines.
Mm-hmm.
Go do your interview at Yelp. And seriously, if you want to work at Yelp, DM me. I'll connect you.
Yeah, we can get you in.
You'll make good money. If you got game, you'll make money at Yelp. But you better have game. You better have game. And
dude.
And the other thing that you better know unequivocally is we never miss football at 50